Hey first graders, this is Miss T and I'm here with your read aloud for this week on Monday. Today we're reading a story called A Bus Called Heaven. And all of our stories this week are focusing on the importance of community and helping each other and being there for each other. So we've talked a little bit about community before. Do you remember what a community is? Think about what community do you belong to? You might think of your own family as a small community, or your neighborhood, the people who live in the homes around you as your community, or even the town you live in. You can think of that as your community. Communities come in different sizes. We all belong to a community of some sort. So let's take a look at our story here. A Bus Called Heaven. So let's look at the cover. What looks unusual about this bus? Where do we think this story takes place? Take a look at those buildings back there. What do you think those tall buildings mean? Do you think it means they're in a city or a small town? What's interesting about the way the bus looks? The story is called A Bus Called Heaven. So they call the bus heaven. Let's think about, as we read the story, why they call the bus heaven, and if you think that's a good name for the bus. So here we go, A Bus Called Heaven by Bob Graham. Move this so you can see a little better. There we go. The bus brought change to Stella's streets. Traffic slowed where no traffic had slowed before. People stopped and talked together. Just a little, but they talked. Stella changed too. She took her thumb from her mouth, where it usually lived, and said, "Mommy, that old bus is as sad as a whale on a beach." Then she pushed open the door and climbed aboard. Stella, the color of moonlight, stood among the bottles, cans, and trash. She was so pale you could almost see through her. "It could be ours," she whispered. "Whose?" asked Nikki, Vicky, Alex, Yasmin, and Poe. "What did she say?" asked Mrs. Demetrius. Oh, that didn't help. I was trying to make this a little bigger. "Ours," she said louder. "Well, whoever's it is, it needs to come off the road," said Stella's mom. And when Dad came home that afternoon, he found an old bus where the front yard used to be. "The wheels stick out onto the sidewalk," he said. "There are sure to be regulations." "Well, it's staying here," said Stella. "That's my regulation." Next morning, Stella looked out her front window. People were sitting on the wall, where no one had sat before. Under the bus were Esther, Rajit, Chelsea, and Charles. "Mommy," said Stella, "I'm going out." And she joined them. That day, the bus settled in. Weeds nudged up around the tires. Snails made silver trails, and a pair of sparrows nested in the old engine. While the children played, the grown-ups mopped and scrubbed and polished. That night, the bus got a bit of new paint. "Hello, boys," said Mom. "I've got an idea. Come back tomorrow, and you can paint the whole bus. Make it sparkle." The next morning, Stella drew a picture for the rats to copy. These boys are the rats. I think that's the name of their group. Oh, these boys, I mean, sorry. People came with donations. Poppy brought her goldfish, Eric. Luke gave a set of super comics. Stella carried in her table soccer with the missing goalie. Mrs. Stavros brought a bus cake. And Lucy lent her dog, Bear, for anyone who just needed to sit and pat something. That's what I need all the time, just a dog. Here's the illustrations over here. Life returned to the old bus. Stella's fingers fluttered and her soccer players spun. Babies crawled. People laughed. Kids fought. Granddads scratched dogs. Meetings were planned. Couples met. And the Fingles showed their vacation pictures. Look at everyone coming together on the bus. Here, I'll show you the picture over here first. One Saturday morning, just outside Stella's house, there was music and dancing. There were picnics and laughter. When a tow truck arrived. It's against regulations, said the driver. This bus is causing an obstruction. He means it sticks out, Stella's dad whispered. The bus has to go, said the driver. As the front wheels left the ground, snails dropped from under the bus, and a twittering came from the old engine. Go where? Gasped the crowd. To the junkyard, came the reply. Uh-oh. The crowd pleaded for their bus, but the junkyard boss came out to join the driver and shook his head. This one's for the crusher. A little pink glow crept across Stella's cheek. 3 rescued snails were deep in her pocket. Excuse me, she said. Shall we play table soccer? You can have the only goalie, but if I win, we'll keep the bus. And why? Asked the junkyard boss. Tell me why should I play you for the bus? Because, replied Stella, there are sparrows nesting in the engine. The game began. Handle spun. The ball smacked end to end. And then, goal! Stella scored. She followed that with 9 more and won. The boss put out his hand. Joe, he said. Stella, said Stella. They shook hands. Then Stella ran to the front of the bus. Come and see, she said. Chicks. Amid the frantic flapping of the parent sparrow's wings, Joe, the junkyard boss, spoke quietly. Better get your bus to somewhere safe, kid. Somewhere out of the way. Thank you, said Stella. And the crowd cheered. I know where we can take it, said Stella. While the others pushed, she and Mom sat up front to steer. almost back to where they'd started from. And when the old bus came to rest at last, everyone else needed a rest too. Well, almost everyone. That evening, in the vacant lot just behind Stella's house, music drifted high over the city, and the grass was danced flat around a bus called Heaven. And that is our story, A Bus Called Heaven. So I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a really sweet story that talks to us about the importance of knowing the people that you live around and coming together for something that matters to you all. In this case, it was this awesome bus that brought them all together. So what I want you guys to do is go tell a grown-up, a sibling, or even a stuffy, if you want, and go tell them your favorite part of the story. Go tell them what you thought was really neat about the community. What did you think was so cool about them all coming together and making this awesome bus? What did you enjoy about it? So go share your favorite part of the community coming together and making this awesome bus called Heaven. Go share with a grown-up, a sibling, or a stuffy if you'd like. I really hope you enjoyed the story, kiddos. I'll see you soon. Bye.